Darth Vader found Ahsoka's blue lightsaber in the snow among the graves of clone troopers who had once fought under his command. Years later, his former apprentice stood before him alive and ignited 2 completely white blades. Then she said 4 words that revealed exactly why these weapons had to hit Vader so hard. "I am no Jedi." The loss, the color, and the path Ahsoka had chosen completely on her own put those pieces together, and they show what Vader really saw in those 2 blades, and why they were more dangerous to him than an ordinary Jedi weapon. Because the answer has nothing to do with Ahsoka's combat skill. We'll get to that. It's about the lightsaber she left behind, the red crystals she healed, and a possibility Darth Vader could no longer allow himself to believe in. But it all starts at a crashed Star Destroyer with the death Ahsoka only faked, and the one Vader wanted to believe anyway. After Order 66, the Republic Cruiser Tribunal crashed on a remote moon. Ahsoka and Rex survived, but almost every clone trooper on board died. Ahsoka buried the men and placed their helmets on the graves. Then she left one of her lightsabers behind. It wasn't a randomly lost weapon. Anakin Skywalker himself had given those sabers back to Ahsoka shortly before the Siege of Mandalore. He'd repaired them, upgraded them, and even changed the color of the blades from green to blue. Classic Anakin. Even an emotional farewell gift got a technical upgrade. When Vader later visited the crash site, he found that exact blue weapon in the snow. A convoy circled above him as he silently activated the blade. Star Wars never tells us what he was thinking in that moment, but Ahsoka had deliberately left the scene so the Empire would believe she was dead. For Vader, there was more lying there than an abandoned lightsaber. There lay the last visible piece of a relationship that had belonged to Anakin Skywalker. He left without finding Ahsoka, and everything he still had of her was a weapon he'd modified himself. Vader had every reason to consider that chapter closed. The Jedi were wiped out, Anakin supposedly destroyed, and his former Padawan presumably dead. But years later, Ahsoka appeared again. Not with the green blades of her youth, not with Anakin's blue blades, and certainly not with the red of a Sith. She carried 2 white lightsabers, a color practically no one associated with the old Jedi Order. How could a woman with no master, no temple, and no access to Jedi resources create 2 brand new lightsabers at all? After the fall of the Republic, Ahsoka hid her connection to the Force and lived under a false name. She was no longer a Jedi, but her past caught up with her anyway. An Inquisitor discovered her activities and hunted her. These Imperial Jedi hunters carried red lightsabers, but their crystals weren't naturally red. In current canon, dark side users take a Kyber crystal and force their pain, anger, and will onto it. The crystal starts to bleed and its blade turns red. Ahsoka defeated the Inquisitor and took the crystals from his weapon, but she didn't leave them in their corrupted state. She bonded with them through the Force and cleansed them of the dark corruption. When she set the crystals into her new lightsabers, the blades didn't glow blue, green, or yellow. They turned white. That's what makes Ahsoka's weapons unique. White wasn't just her favorite color, and it wasn't a uniform for some previously unknown Jedi division that couldn't decide between blue and green in the morning. The color was the visible result of a healing. These crystals had been abused. Ahsoka didn't destroy them, she freed them. And this is exactly where the story gets personal for Vader. Darth Vader knew better than almost anyone what it meant to make a crystal bleed. After becoming a Sith, he had to kill a Jedi, take his Kyber crystal, and corrupt it with the dark side. The crystal even resisted him, showing him a possible future in which he killed Palpatine and returned to Obi-Wan. Vader rejected that possibility. He forced the crystal into submission and turned it red. The same way Palpatine had broken Anakin and turned him into Darth Vader. Vader couldn't possibly have known every step of how Ahsoka created her white blades on Malachor. We shouldn't sell that as confirmed fact. But he knew Kyber crystals, he knew red Sith blades, and above all, he knew Ahsoka. He saw immediately that these weapons came neither from their shared Jedi past nor from the dark side. Ahsoka had built herself a new identity without any order, master, or Sith Lord handing it to her. And then Vader said something that showed just how much he was still trying to force her back into an old role. He told her the Emperor would show mercy if she revealed the location of the remaining Jedi. Ahsoka answered that no Jedi were left. Vader then said, "Revenge was not the Jedi way." She replied, "I am no Jedi." Those 4 words explain her white blades too. Ahsoka hadn't fallen to the dark side, but she also hadn't returned to the order that had failed her. She'd found a third option, and that was something Anakin had never managed to do. Anakin spent his life being defined by others. The Jedi told him which feelings were forbidden. The Council decided what rank he deserved. Palpatine eventually even gave him a new name. Ahsoka lost her rank, her order, her soldiers, and her master too. But instead of letting that loss consume her, she decided for herself who she wanted to be afterward. Her white lightsabers were the proof of that. You might assume Vader simply feared Ahsoka because she was an exceptional fighter. After all, she defeated Maul, survived multiple Inquisitors, and actually managed to wound Vader on Malachor. But combat skill alone had never shaken Vader. He'd hunted Jedi for decades and defeated opponents with far more experience than Ahsoka. 2 more lightsabers were normally just 2 more weapons for him to destroy or confiscate. What made Ahsoka dangerous wasn't her ability to kill Darth Vader. It was her ability to make Anakin Skywalker visible again. During their duel, Ahsoka knocked part of Vader's mask away. Beneath the black armor, Anakin's face appeared. When he said her name, she didn't just hear Vader's mechanical voice. For one brief moment, she heard Anakin. Ahsoka promised, "I won't leave you, not this time." And Vader answered, "Then you will die." That moment reveals the tragedy behind the white blades. Ahsoka had been able to heal 2 bleeding crystals, but Anakin didn't let her do the same for him. He answered compassion with violence because compassion was the one weapon his armor offered no protection against. If Ahsoka was right, if corruption didn't have to be permanent, then Vader wasn't just Palpatine's victim. Then he chose, in every single moment after that, to remain Vader. That's the real threat Ahsoka's lightsabers embodied. They proved that loss didn't automatically have to lead to an existence built on hate. Ahsoka lost her order and didn't become a Sith. On Malachor, she felt anger, even talked about revenge, but she never turned that pain into a new Sith identity. She took something that had been turned red by suffering and set it free again. Vader, by contrast, had turned every loss into another link in his chain. Of course, no canon source states word for word that Darth Vader was afraid of white lightsabers. His reaction has to be read through the story and their shared history. But that's exactly why the scene hits so hard. Vader wasn't just looking at 2 unusual weapons, he was looking at a former student who had survived everything that destroyed him and had built something new out of it. Ahsoka was no Jedi, she was no Sith, and she no longer belonged to Anakin. Maybe that was the part Vader found hardest to bear. He'd believed he could bury Anakin's past under snow, armor, and a new name. But on Malachor, that past stood in front of him, again, alive, independent, carrying 2 blades that had once been red. So, Vader didn't fear Ahsoka's white lightsabers because they could pierce his body. He feared what they revealed about his soul, that even something the dark side had made bleed could still be healed, which meant Anakin Skywalker might never have truly disappeared. He just still refused to turn white.